Do you know that how you and your spouse communicate with each other when you run a business together is critical in ensuring the success of that business? Is essential to how successful you will be working together and how others also interact with you. How you communicate goes a long way to set the tone around the organization and indeed the culture of the organization. So it's important to pay attention to workplace communication between you and your spouse. My name is Joe-Ezigbo. I'm a transformational business leader and the Double Impact Coach. I help entrepreneurial couples to build sustainable businesses God's way. Today, I want to share some tips around how to communicate when you work in business with your spouse. The first tip is this: keep it professional. Ordinarily, the corporate environment places a demand on professional colleagues in terms of how they interact with each other. Should be respectful, should be honoring, should be appreciative, and your spouse deserves no less. So keep it professional. Mind the words you use and how you use those words. The underlying philosophy is this: if this person was not my spouse, how would I speak to them? And once you can keep that in view, you will not tend to get it wrong. The second tip is this: KISF. Keep it simple and formal. Listen, the workplace is not the place for your pet names for each other and your terms of endearment. Yes, your staff may find it cute once in a while, but when it happens all the time, it's going to become irritating. Figure out what you call each other. If the culture of your organization is such as is the case in mine, where we address people by acronyms from their job titles, then so be it. Please address your spouse the same way. In some organizations, they use initials, and that's fine. This is also critical when you're speaking to your spouse in front of other staff, or when you're speaking to another staff about your spouse. So no, it doesn't make sense, for instance, for my husband to turn to one of my staff and say, "Go and tell Audrey I said this." That doesn't work. Keep it simple, keep it formal. That's the best for workplace communication. The third tip is this: modulate. Within every corporate organization, most employee handbooks speak to codes of conduct, of acceptable behavior. One of the things that is not acceptable is shouting, for instance. So when you're speaking to your spouse in the office, don't raise your voice, don't shout. Try to avoid showing irritation when your spouse is speaking, even if you don't agree with what they're saying. Check your tone of voice so that you don't convey a disdain or a disrespect in the process of communicating with your spouse. Your staff pick up on such things, and it doesn't do well, as I said earlier, for the culture of the organization. The fourth and last tip I'd like to share today is this: allow each other speak. Don't make a habit of interrupting your spouse when they're speaking, just because you don't agree with what they're saying, or perhaps they don't agree with you. Don't be dismissive about their comments. Actually, your business is better for both of you being able to freely give expression to your thoughts, your perspectives, and your insights on different issues that may be under consideration or decisions that may need to be taken. So don't constrain the potentials of your business by not allowing your spouse to speak. Also, when your spouse is speaking, listen. Don't be dismissive of what they're saying, and please don't roll your eyes. I've seen that happen. And many times that comes when you allow the disagreements you have at home to roll into the business environment. I hope this has been useful to you today in terms of how you can have a better professional communication with your spouse. So remember, communicating with your spouse when you work together, keep it professional, keep it simple and formal, modulate, and then allow each other full expression to speak without interruption. I hope this has been useful, and I look forward to getting your comments. Take care.